Good evening, Dragon Warrior Randomizer fans. We are here for our weekly Dragon Warrior Randomizer race here on SpeedGaming. I am Edge Calvin, followed in here with a 2NG for your comms tonight. We got a fantastic race we're getting ready to start with Zarnak, Nicholas, Asmati Games, and Lavkia, I think is how it's pronounced. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's good to get back to standard flags. We just had our Winter League finish up, I believe. Mr. Holmes with a nice comeback to become the overall Winter League champion. We've got, of course, Ness Cardinality is our current summer tournament champion, and everyone here is knocking on the door to challenge that maybe this coming summer. So we're kind of back to our quote-unquote regular season, right? So this is kind of a scheduled weekly race where we run standard flags, and everybody's just kind of sharpening up and getting ready for the summer.
Indeed. So we are getting ready to kick off here in just the next few seconds here, and we'll see what we're going to have. So just go ahead. I was going to say, just a little setup for tonight. We are running standard flags, so it's going to be our standard racing that we have been doing, not as opposed to what we have kind of been doing in the Winter League. So this ought to be pretty interesting to see here shortly. Like you said, the return to standard flags.
So Kigalis has a different name. I suppose our tracker will probably let us know if that happens to be a separate build, but first we're going to see what's in the throne room, because that could greatly help them get started.
Yeah, so it looks like we got a little bit of a torch, 2 torches and a key, so that's going to be an interesting little start.
Yeah, we got 9 strength and we got the Radiant spell to work with, so it's not a great start, but torches in the current version of Randomizer can actually be thrown at enemies to do 6 to 9 damage, and a ghost is the perfect enemy. You can usually one-shot them for 4 experience with a torch, as Kigalis does right here, and if he finds another one of those, he could use his other torch and at least get off level 1 and up to level 2, where maybe some big stat gains are right around the corner. You never know.
Yeah, man, that's the joy of the randomizers. You never know what you're going to get level to level. And I'm honestly really hoping that we do see some, at least some early start HP gains. And Zarnak's going to go ahead and restart at Metal Scorpion, sending him home super early. So he's going to get those torches back and start over again.
So the Metal Scorpion is interesting because 2 torches could sometimes be enough to kill a Metal Scorpion, and that would be a jump to level 3. But Kigalis goes with kind of the more straightforward approach of actually looking for a second ghost. So he gets the second ghost, and he's on level 2 now. The rest of our runners, I guess Lavkin just recently promoted as well. Nothing special on that level up, so they're just kind of hunting around for the small enemies here. If you go a bit to the west, you end up in that second zone with the tougher monsters. We saw a Warlock pop up. There's a Wolf way over here. And that Metal Scorpion. So in a few levels from now, that's going to be a nice zone to grind in.
Well, here's the super spicy thing. Looking at Kigalis, he's at level 4 and already has Hurtmore, so he's already playing with wolves, not really letting them affect him.
Okay, so a relatively early Hurtmore. Yeah, that changes things pretty dramatically. You can actually get started with exploration. There's quite a few enemies that you can one-shot with that spell for quite a lot of experience. So off he goes. He's going east through the big forest here, looking for Townsend Caves.
And according to chat, we got it at 2. Zarnax once again trying for that Metal Scorpion early with the 2 torches. So he wasn't able to get it. We'll try it again, see what happens. And Kigalis finding that Metal Scorpion, sending him home.
Oh wow, the Hurtmore was at level 2, yeah. So you really just want to use those torches to your advantage and get that level 2 quickly. I think Zarnax is the only one that hasn't done that yet. So he's playing a little bit of catch up while everyone else has the Hurtmore.
Right, and that Hurtmore, it can play super, super sweet to your advantage because Typically 1 or 2 Hurtmores can take a lot of the mid-game enemies down in like I said, 1 or 2 Hurtmores. And kind of from the looks of it, they at least have one in the tank to start. So not terrible. We'll see how this plays out the rest of the night with this Hurtmore early.
Yeah, one of the issues I see is that I think even up at level 4, we do not have much MP. So I feel like maybe they can only cast it 1 time still. So you kind of want to pick a nice enemy that'll give you some experience.
Looking at those
Lavkin's not even going out into the world. He's just looking for like a simple warlock or maybe a wolf was down in this region. He's using actually the hurt spells on the warlock here to maybe be able to get 1 more before he runs out of resources. So yeah, a couple of different ideas here in the very early game until we get some MP to work with. Yeah, no MP gained on level 5, but we're still on really low resources.
Yeah, but level 4 does bring the hurt spell, so that does help with the kind of the lower enemies, so they can at least use hurt once or twice, drop some of them, and not have to use a full Hurtmore and drop all of that magic.
So some early exploration by Kagalis. He's found Tablet Cave, and there is some money in there. Now, we haven't seen any towns per se, I don't believe, but yeah, if you get a little money under your belt, you can upgrade some equipment. That's always useful. He's going to have to walk all the way back out, though, because we're still in the early levels and we have not learned the outside spell. So some of the other runners that maybe find this cave a bit later could cut their time in half by using outside. So there's a town actually across the river, but I don't see a bridge over there yet. And he's going to be next back.
Yeah, I was going to say, Zarn found the cave, but he just got eliminated just outside of that cave, so he was unable to get inside. The Axe Knights are super spicy tonight, though, so Keegle is finding one, the Axe Knights first, and sending him home, so it's going to be a fun night trying to play with them, but again, they're grindable XP later on.
Yeah, this Magician here will give Kagalis level 5 to sort of be in line with where Lavkin was. Lavkin found a Star Wyvern, which occasionally you can one-shot for big experience with Hurtmore, but if you don't do enough damage, they are going to come with a fierce counterattack and just put Lavkin down that time. Pretty unfortunate. In the early game, you sort of have to get a little bit lucky with some of those Hurtmore castings because you just don't have the hit points to withstand the damage.
Yeah, so as Chet's kind of pointed out, a lot of spice in these higher tier enemies, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly how that's going to play out. Erdrick's Armor is going to help out super lot when we get to that level, but again, no towns found. No, it looks like Keegles has found a town.
And the slime puts him to sleep, but it doesn't really follow up with anything too crazy, so that's always exciting.
And Keegelis finds the great town of Breckenary, so not a whole lot there, but it does have some nice pieces in there to at least get him some armor.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the chainmail and the small shield, because he got that money out of the tablet cave there, that's actually really nice now to work with. If he could pick up the repel spell, for example, he has Hurtmore to work with, and now he's got some armor, so yeah, that's a nice find with the money that he had left over after taking that death.
Yeah, not terrible. And I did see the silver shield in there, so we do know that at least there in Breckenary, there is a shield. So, if somebody can find a gold grind to start. And it does like as Mahdi found Sharlock Castle, so we do have a location for Sharlock now.
Zarlox finds a green dragon actually just a little bit southwest of Start, so there actually are some nice Hurtmore targets nearby in these hills. Unfortunately, he's still only on level 3, so yeah, just not able to win that battle, but yeah, pretty soon now we're going to be ramping up on the experience as we can survive some of these battles. We'll be able to Hurtmore some big enemies. There are some pretty close by. Here's a Wraith Knight for Asmati, although he's pretty far out onto the world now. Yep, but the experience is rolling in now, and now it's time to find some towns and caves. It's all about exploration at this stage. Once you have Hurtmore and you have some survivability, you want to start covering that map, because the faster you can find the quest items and round everything up, the faster you can get into Sharlock and try and win the race.
Keegle is finding our first red dragon of the night. Fun Police sending him home with one shot. Zarnax finding level 4 and finding the disappointing news of, no magic.
Zarnax makes his way into Breckenary and takes an inn here. only 6 gold to do so, but he doesn't really have much money left over for the shop. He might take a look and see, just in case he, gets a gold grind in the future. This will be actually a pretty nice shop with the flame sword and the silver shield available. But yeah, for now, just gonna make note of that and move on.
Yeah, and looking at it, Smashy says level 6 gives us a second shot at Airdrift Bazooka, and it does set him at 11, so 2 shots of hurt more. Very nice. That's going to help out. Again, some of those higher level enemies they're going to be able to 2-shot and get something out of.
Yeah, Edge, I don't know how many standard flag runs you've done with the latest version of Rando, but I feel like since we've upgraded to this latest version, I've had several seeds now where we have this issue where the MP is just like not coming along very quickly. I don't know if that's there. I think there are some new stat growths built into the formulas, but I've had some extreme ones where I get 80 or 90 hit points and just like 10 MP, for up on level 10. So if that's one of those kind of seeds, they're going to be pretty frustrated because you have that hurt more, you want to use it, but you don't have much magic right now.
Yeah, I kind of had the opposite. I've kind of had both directions. I've had lots of magic and zero HP going into like 10, 11, and 12. But I've also had those ones where super high HP up in the 120s, and I'm only sitting at like 30 magic. So it does seem like there's a definite curve in the magic or HP stat on some of these seeds.
And Lavkin has finally finished up his initial grind. He was staying close to home up until level 6, and now he is starting to get out onto the world with a little bit of extra survivability, but he's going to face a hurt more from the Druid, sending him back just short of this cave in the swamp here. So he'll have to decide if he wants to go straight back there and check out that cave, or if he wants to strike out in a different direction. The castle seems to actually be kind of in the middle of a large landmass, which is a little bit unusual. Usually you're kind of on a coastline or sort of in a corner somewhere where there's only one direction to explore. In this one, I feel like you can go all 4 ways, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to keep the map straight in their minds.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to map out. Of course, Asmati getting through the cave, getting that gold, and then finding an Axe Knight, and not enough magic to try and hit it with anything, so he's going to go home. But at least he's got half that gold, and hopefully he's found Breck, so he can at least get some kind of gear to help him out.
It's interesting to me to see exactly the method that everybody uses for their exploration here. Like Higalis went east to a certain point, and there was some forest paths that continued east, and then he takes a northern turn. It's like he's doing like a spiral shaped exploration away from the castle. Other people like to follow coastlines as far as they go. Everybody has kind of a different way of doing it, I guess. And some people are actually drawing the maps on a piece of paper, and other people are just kind of winging it and just going and hoping that they remember everything. So then you'll see as you're watching those runners that they kind of like double back through areas that they've already been because they don't quite remember if they've already been there. So that's part of the fun of it in this rando. The totally randomly generated maps makes for a pretty interesting exploration.
Oh, most definitely. As far as exploration goes, I take my page out of Beta Strep's book. I try to stick to the coastline and explore coastlines. And kind of go as far as I can there, and then kind of try to remember where I'm at, where things are at as far as the coastline goes. So, everybody has a little bit of different exploration how they play it. So I love the randomizer that way. There's no wrong way to do it. There's not, a 100% tried and true right method to do it. Everybody's methods get them where they need to be.
So Asmati Games, he takes that same hurt more from the same Druid right outside the cave, but he was actually pacing around in the desert, which was in between the cave and that town across the river. I feel like he found something there that was like a nice hurt more target. It just didn't work out that time because he got the wrong enemy, but it's interesting. That's the first time I've noticed someone just kind of stopping and checking out a little grind opportunity, but everybody else is just striking out, trying to find more locations.
Yeah, there are Axe Knights in that location. They did get found earlier, but there's also Red Dragons a little bit in that area too, so you kind of got to be careful what you're looking at. And of course, we were talking about exploration, now we're looking for towns and caves. It's going to take those 3 magical items so we can get into Sharlock, since everybody knows where Sharlock's at. We're going to need that Silver Harp to turn in for the Staff of Rain, Stones of Sunlight, and Erdrick's token to turn into the Jerk Cave for the Rainbow Drop to be able to create that Rainbow Bridge into Sherlock Castle.
Yep, and along the way, they're going to probably want to find Erdrick's armor and Erdrick's sword in order to be able to defeat the Dragon Lord at the end. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking for. There's 8 towns and castles, and there's 8 caves, almost all of which are fairly important for one reason or another. We got the 3 search spots in the towns of Cole, Cantlin, and Hawksness, and then you got lots of treasure chests throughout all the caves and towns, so... Yeah, exploration's the name of the game. You were speaking about red dragons earlier, and I saw one pop up on Lavkin's screen up there in the top left. And it turns out in this seed that the red dragon has the hurt spell, which is actually, if you see that, you want to make a note of that for later if it happens to be a Sherlock enemy. You'll know that it's a little bit easier to get through those in this seed than average.
Yeah, because typically those things are hitting hard, and they've got, typically a breath weapon or sleep. And those are not the things you want to see down in Sherlock. But so far, all we've seen from him is hurt and attack, so that's not a terrible combo. But it doesn't necessarily mean that nobody else is going to have that ugly combo.
Yep, so we're just kind of in this waiting game where we're waiting for somebody to make a pretty big exploration find. So, all we have on our tracker right now is Kigalis with the early tablet cave money. Purchased himself some defensive equipment, so he's taken a little bit less damage from enemies, and like we said before, if you do have fairy water, or if you cast repel, you'll be repelling some of the smaller enemies. It makes your journey a bit more efficient to have a little bit of equipment, but other than that, nobody's found any quest items, not a lot of towns and castles found, so just playing the waiting game. Right now, they're all just kind of leveling up so that they can make it a bit further out onto the map. Even on level 6 and 7, we don't have a lot of magic yet, so running out of resources before you get to the next town is kind of a problem.
Yeah, and Kegel is going to go ahead and try to get this Axe Knight down. He hit him with 1 hurt more, and it wasn't enough, but he was able to take him down with that second hurt, so it's 130 more XP to get him up to level 8. Zarnak's catching up at 6, Lavkin at 6, and Azamati Games at level 7, doing a little bit of a grind next to that cave. He's looking for the Axe Knights.
Yeah, that's a great heads-up play on the Axe Knight there. Axe Knights can have up to 67 hit points, I believe it is, and, they oftentimes will have significantly less than that. So you can often one-shot them with the hurt more, and when you don't, it's kind of tempting. You know that they don't have many hit points left. It's tempting to just kind of take a swing at them to try and finish them off, but without a weapon and without much strength, oftentimes you're only doing like 0 to 1 damage on an enemy as strong as an Axe Knight, and so then you just end up dying. So heads up play to realize, well, he didn't have enough MP for it to be able to cast the second hurt more, but he does have the hurt spell, and that only costs 2 MP. So he is able to cast the hurt spell after the hurt more, and that does enough damage to take it down. Really big experience for that victory, so that was a nice play.
Oh, most definitely. And of course, kind of looking at a lot of this and it being brought up in chat, our stats are still pretty abysmal for level 8. It's just not looking nice early game, and that's just going to mean super huge stat gains at mid to late game here.
Yeah, that actually just makes that hurt more spell even more important in the fact that, you're going to want some MP pretty soon. In these seeds where the strength just lags behind for a long time, even if you get a decent weapon, it can still be a little bit tough to manage, the big enemies. And sometimes when the strength really lags, that means that we could have a lengthy grind at the end of the seed, maybe pretty high up. So, never know though, like you said, you always get a big double-digit unit somewhere along the way. The way that the algorithm is, it kind of corrects itself over time. So we'll just have to wait and see if that happens, or if we have to go to a high level in order to get enough strength.
Yeah, Lavkin going to try this Armored Knight, but the Armored Knight's going to one-shot him, take him home, and Zarnak's finding out that Poltergeists have hurt more. So that's an ugly little truth to find out.
Yeah, there's several enemies now have had the hurt more, and I guess they don't even have the stop spell, right? All they have is the hurt, the radiant, and the hurt more still. There are 10 spells altogether, and so to only have 3 of them after level 7 is a little bit trolly, but of course you can't complain too much when you have the hurt more. But yeah, it would be nice in some cases right now if they had stop spell or You know, especially if it was an enemy that had some hurt resistance. But yeah, it's one of those things. That's one of the skills, I guess you would say too, right, Edge, is that part of the skills of the runners now is you have to kind of remember which enemies have which abilities, right? Because that's the thing that's randomized in standard flags. So you never know what's going to show up with hurt more spells or Dragon Lord Breath, or, you know, throwing the sleep spell at you and being able to counter that either with a stop spell casting, or, you know, maybe you're just going to run from certain enemies because it's not worth taking the damage or whatever. So that's part of the skill.
Most definitely. It is a huge thing that comes into play at any point in these standard flags, is that memorization of, okay, I ran into this right at the beginning. You know, Druids are pretty close to the castle and they have hurt more. Poltergeists are right there off that zone just east of the castle. They have hurt more. So a lot of things, you know, super early with a lot of power and a lot of punch. So yeah, I mean, it's just memorizing those little things and you know, even the little slime, sleep.
Yeah, slime's asleep. And the ones that I usually like to keep track of are the Sharlak enemies, because you want to know what you're going to be dealing with on your final assault. And the fact that we saw the red dragon with hurt, that's very significant. If you see that, you want to make sure that you note that for later. And another thing, not even just in Sharlak, but maybe a little earlier than you normally would, you might want to start taking a swing at those red dragons. They are worth 255. So if you've already seen that they have hurt, and if maybe they have it at high frequency, you can start maybe going after them a bit earlier on than you otherwise would. So things like that, that's all part of you know, getting experienced with this randomizer and learning what you can get away with and what you can't, and, you know, what makes your run a little bit faster than it otherwise would have been.
Yeah, so Kegel is finding coal and finding Erdrick's token, picking up a copper sword, and going over here picking up a couple of items. So he's managed to find the search spot in coal. We know now that the sword or armor are not there, with 2 search spots to go.
Yeah, note, of course, that they actually don't have any means of healing, right? So we're so focused on like the 1 or 2 castings of Hurtmore that they have. But yeah, it's hard to actually get too far on the map when you can't heal either, right? So he's taking advantage of the item shop here and buying up some herbs, which I'm not sure I've seen anybody else do just yet. So yeah, sometimes just having a stack of herbs can be enough to just get you to the next town so that you can just make progress across the map, you know? So yeah, it was worth, for him, it was worth that long walk all the way around. The item shop in Cole is not convenient, but, you know, he picks up some nice items there. And there's an inn nearby, and he looks like he's just going to grind, use up his 3 Hurtmores, and maybe just go back to the inn again.
Yeah, not a terrible strategy. 20 gold is not terrible to find it. He finds a metal slime just outside of Cole, out in the desert. So, I mean, 3 HP, yeah, but they run. So there's always that. Again, though, he did pick up the Dragon Scale and equip it. So, I mean, he's got that strategy. Again, you've got Breckenary right there, so you can get it from there, too. And there is 1 free out in the world as well.
Smarty Games makes a separate direction and kind of retreats back to Breckenary. He's got no MP, so he's going to take the inn. The inn is one of the only ways to recoup your magic in the game. So you go, stay the night at the inn, you wake up refreshed and ready to cast some magic spells. He's also at level 9, so he has a whole 15 magic points to work with, which is enough to cast Hurtmore 3 times. Lavkin at level 8 can still only cast Hurtmore 2 times. So pretty frustrating situation, just lack of healing and lack of magic, and the stats aren't really coming along that quickly either. So early Hurtmore can sometimes be, you know, you think it's going to be super fast, and in this case maybe it's just only going to be kind of fast.
Yeah, and Kiga did get a nice metal kill, so he's got that 255 experience for that. So, you know, that's kind of nice, and he's already hit level 10 with 34 magic, spicy magic shot there.
Oh, that's what you want. Yeah, that's being the first one to get the nice magic boost. He should be taking the next few minutes and taking advantage of this, and he does seem to be just running around looking for the Axe Knight now in the desert that he knows is here right outside the cave. So there's one right there. And yeah, so the Axe Knight turns out it has heal, but a second Hurtmore is always enough. So he goes with hurt. That is not usually going to be enough to out damage the heal spell. So yeah, just a double Hurtmore there would have done the job. And he at least gets this one. So nice play by Kigalis to make sure that he gets the Axe Knight there. He's going to use some herbs just to try and get out of the swamp here, but yeah, having some magic to work with makes a big difference here. I think we'll see some exploration now by Kigalis in the bottom right.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get around a little bit. Sarnax hit level 9, so he's got the 3 Hurtmores now. He's just grinding it out for the Max Knights around Breckenary in the desert. Looks like we've got a little bit of a grind going over here with this Mahdi doing the same thing. He kind of went that direction, expended his magic. He found the 35 points and is heading back to get it all back. So he's got some guns in the cabinet now. We ought to be all right. Lavkin find another green dragon. He's going to try and hit with that Hurtmore and hopefully get the one shot on it.
So here's a small detail, and we'll see how far Kigalis is able to go on this, before he dies on this run here. But he ran into a wizard a minute ago, and the wizard hit him for enough so that he only had 1 hit point remaining. Now, what that means is that the fact that he happened to get that chainmail and the small shield earlier in the seed, if he didn't have those, he would have died to that wizard attack, and he would have had to start over from the beginning castle again. So it's once in a while that, if that can save you on 1 death warp that was unintentional, then that equipment purchase, turns out to be, time saving. So, and he's one of our featured runners that has some significant equipment here. So worked out to his benefit that time.
Yeah, and as Mahdi changing that, he's picked up chainmail. So he's got a little bit, and it looks like what Kigalis is doing is picking on these metal slimes and whatever else might be around here. He's going to try and get away from this red dragon, but at level 10, super hard to get away from him. And of course, them using hurt, he's only taking a few points, but that one punch they've got is ugly.
Well, gets away on the 3rd try after a couple of hurt spells, so it does seem to be a fairly high percentage hurt. And here's a pair of towns further west, so Kigalis with a little bit of an exploration advantage now, I believe. It's doing quite well with this seed, and he's going to upgrade to the hand axe. So yeah, some nice equipment upgrades. Now, it doesn't have keys yet, so it would be a nice place to be able to use your keys, but maybe this town over here, if you can get there. Don't want to jinx him, but there is a town where you can buy keys. Let's see.
Yeah, hopefully he finds Rimmeldar here. He finds Hawksness, so he's saying not quite yet for Hawks. But nobody else has gotten past finding just Breckenary. And Cole is at least 1 piece, and nobody else has gotten it. But it does look like Asmati did go ahead and get the Dragon Scale while he was here, and I think he picked up some herbs. So he does have Fairy Water as well. So he's going to try and go for that harder enemy strat and see what he can get out of the experience.
Yeah, I believe Kigalis just went for a refill. The town is right next door, so he just goes back to Garenham to take an inn. He's got 47 HP and, in the 40s for MP. I think it's definitely worth at least taking a look to see if you can defeat this enemy. You can get Urgic's Sword or Urgic's Armor just right here if you're able to get this. It's a blue dragon. You actually can win this with double Hurtmore strats. It's about a 30% chance, but misses on the first one. He's better off just running now and trying to use some herbs, reset the fight, and try it again here. I would probably use another herb because you could probably still get hit for 39 on a 1-shot, but 47 as long as you don't get ambushed, but he gets ambushed. So now I would run again. So, this is a little bit of a Hurtmore there is not going to work, so... Yeah, no, he needed to run from the battle again and just reset the fight again and just hope to not get ambushed there. It was the right play to go for it a second time because, like I said, if you can get that enemy and there's something really good on that search spot, that puts you way ahead in this race. So, yeah, unfortunate that he chose to go ahead and try the Hurtmore after getting ambushed there. But, yeah, now he knows. Blue Dragon on the search tile, and it's winnable.
Yeah, and again, 2 Hurtmores, not terrible. And he does have at least the defensive advantage with the shield. And he does have the hand axe to assist him as far as, regular attacks. But, on that one, you're going to have to throw the double Hurtmore out there and hope that first one hits. And again, like you said, it's a it's a iffy chance on the hit for that. But, go for it. Don't go for it. I'd say, hey, it wasn't a bad idea, at least to try to take a look. He's got the exploration advantage as we sit right now. So, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. He probably 1 or 2 more levels and then go try it again. depending on the HP gain. I think.
I don't know how far away that was on the map, but he went a totally different direction this time. He's finding some decent enemies here. Unfortunately, doesn't get the one shot on the green dragon. It's only about a 1 in 3 chance to one shot a green dragon. It just didn't do enough damage that time. But yeah, I guess it looks like he may just ignore Hawksness, like you said, for just a couple of more levels. Try and get a little bit more of the rest of the map explored, and then just come back there a little bit later when you have a little bit more HP, you know, a little bit more agility, that kind of stuff, so you're not getting ambushed. Yeah, so we'll see what he decides to do there. Blue Dragon, I believe, is something like 9 out of 16 to hit on the hurt more. So it's almost like a 50-50 on each one. So that's why I think it's about a 30% to double hurt more. So it's a high variance play, but I think if you get it, and it happens to be Erdrick Sword or Erdrick's Armor, it's just so huge. So I'm a little surprised he's not trying to just kind of go back in that direction, but I guess there's still plenty more that he hasn't found yet. So just going.
Yeah, and to kind of throw it out there, Lorgan, there are a few of them that are using some Fairy Water strats just to bring out the Axe Knights. So I did see a couple of people do it. It looks like Asmati is going to kind of continue that hold and try to continue with the Axe Knights right there around Breck. You know, having that magic is nice, and I missed the stat gain there, but we have level 11. We do have heal more now, so Kegel is with a huge advantage with that one level.
Oh, and Lavkin just continues to struggle in the middle game, just not getting lucky. He runs into a Demon Knight, which has a very high resistance to hurt more. So in this case, you'd probably just want to run away. He tries to do that and is unsuccessful. I'm not sure exactly what their agility scores are right now, but it's probably not very good. So he failed multiple attempts to run from a Demon Knight, and he got high rolled on the counterattack and just got sent home. So it's just things have not worked out. Now he runs into an Armored Knight, can't get away from that. So it's like he's just kind of stalled out here on level 9. Whereas you can see Kigalis has, you know, had better luck with some of his battles, and he's all the way up to level 11. And here's the Stones Cave.
Yeah, so stats being thrown there in chat: 6'3", 15 and 8, 15 HP at level 11. So that's going to help out quite a bit. I don't think it's enough to go and take another look at Hawksness, but I mean, it's nice. It's helpful. Again, still missing keys though. Rimuldar has just not been found yet.
Yeah, it's a big deal. We haven't really opened too many stray chests yet either. I guess you know, Kigalis just found the one in the Stones Cave there. He's seen the one in Tablet Cave. No keys there. Nobody's like, you know, found Mountain Cave, for example, has 5 chests just sitting out in the open. Sometimes you can get a stray key out of there, but yeah, the most straightforward way, like you said, is just to find the town of Rimuldar. That seems to be the last town available. We've seen Breckenary, we've seen Cantlin, we've seen Hawksness and Garenham. Yeah, no Rimuldar just yet, so it's probably way out there on the map. That's kind of the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I'm still missing swamp caves as well. And again, that could be what's down underneath the castle, is at least the entrance to one side or the other of swamp. But again, we're still looking for Cantlin as well.
And this comes back to the point I made earlier about the fact that, at least from my view here, this map seems to be a little bit tricky to keep straight in your mind. And the more you have to run into locations that you have to remember where they were and come back to them later, the tougher it is for people that aren't writing things down. So, like in Kigalis' case, he's going to need to go back to Garenham because he didn't have keys, right? So then, and then if you find another place where, let's say the Harp Trading Cave or the Jerk Cave or something, but you don't have all the quest items, well, you got to remember where that is, come back later. So the more that keeps happening to you, the more you have to keep a lot of information straight in your mind. And this map, it doesn't look very easy to me. It's pretty wide open. There's a lot of swamp over here on Kigala's screen. There's like from the starting castle, you can go any direction. So yeah, it could easily trip up some of our runners later in the seed, where they have to kind of revisit all these areas where they've already been.
Yeah, and it didn't look like there's anything too much to the east or south of the castle, so it looks like it's either north or west, to be honest. We do have Asmati finding Garenham, so he's about to find out, hey, We got Hawksness over here too, and at level 11, I mean, do you take the shot?
Yeah, he's got to take a shot at Hawksness here. He's got 62 HP, whereas Kagalis only had 47. That's actually enough in some cases to take 2 attacks to the face from the Blue Dragon. He's got the chainmail to work with, so as long as he doesn't get high rolled, he could actually take 2 attacks and get 3 chances to land 2 hurt mores. So yeah, totally, he's got to go for this. And again, I feel like if he gets ambushed, he should definitely consider just trying to run from battle and resetting the fight, depending on, you know, how bad your agility is. But yeah, he gets first strike opportunity, and he does land the first hurt more. He's got 2 more chances here. Going for it again, and lands it. 2 for 2. So down goes the Blue Dragon. Asmati Games' first chance to see the search style. Death Necklace hype. He could continue to search this, by the way, and grind up some money. If Garanham nearby, for example, had a broadsword, he could search that spot like 3 or 4 more times and get the money for the broadsword. Not everybody is aware of that, but it is a thing. I don't remember exactly what was in that shop in Garanham, but it's like 3 steps outside of town here. So
yeah,
he knows what was there.
I was going to say, and of course, he walks just 2 steps away and finds another Blue Dragon. So we know Blue Dragons are grindable right there in Hawksness, and that's not a terrible grind, but it's not something that I would say, yeah, let's make this a thing for all the time.
Yeah, so he just walks right by the shop with 1,000 gold in his possession. He must have checked it before. Unfortunately, I don't remember what was there. I think there was a hand axe though, which he is not buying unless, you know, we've missed it somehow.
No, that was the same spot that Keeglis found bought the hand axe, and Keeglis does find Jerk Cave, so he has that knowledge now too. He's found another little bit of an exploration spot here. See where he goes with it. But again, Asmati right there, step for step with him experience-wise, and Zarnax catching up too. So Zarnax must have found him a nice little grind spot. He's hit 11, so he's got that heal more as well. So, and Lavkin finally catching up, hitting level 10. So he's got a grind spot as well. He's got.
Yeah, he's been grinding a little bit. He's been just kind of, there's rogue scorpions and star wyvern here, and I don't know if he's been buying herbs or whatever, but he has found a place to just grind a little bit. Like we said before, he had some pretty bad luck for about 10 or 15 minutes straight, where he was just getting killed by enemies instead of actually winning and getting the experience. So he stalled out. Now he's just kind of playing catch up, which is going to put him a little bit behind for exploration. But at least, you know, I'm sure he's hoping that this next level will yield some kind of a healing spell, for example.
And of course, we know that to be true. So he'll have heal more. He'll be able to lay off the herbs a little bit and kind of rely on the nice little pool of magic that they're starting to gain. Of course, you know, the HP not terrible either. So we'll see how this plays out. You know, Armored Knights, yeah. I mean, he's got
he got ambushed there, unfortunately. Yeah, he got ambushed. I gotta think that their agility is pretty poor still. Because they're actually getting ambushed quite a bit still by all sorts of enemies on the map. And yeah, you see the Armored Knight, and that's one of the fastest enemies in the game, kind of counterintuitively. So they have a pretty good chance to ambush you. Unfortunate for Lavkin, I think he was like 1 decent victory away from level 11 there, but got the wrong enemy, and back he goes.
Yeah, and he's going to go right back over there, so he's going to at least get to level 11 pretty quick. Zarnax finding there's nothing else over there by Hawksness, so he's just going to continue to grind up here. And, you know, it's one of those things. At this point, you know, you've got grind spots early. You've got some, you know, magic in the tank now. You've got some healing. Now is definitely the time for exploration. And, of course, Keeglis has that exploration experience.
Yeah, we got to find
and, of course, level 12. Level 12 bringing 002 and 21 more magic points. So yeah, not terrible.
Oh yeah, that's actually really good when you have heal more now. Like you said, we picked up heal more on 11. He's got the sleep spell to work with if we run into any stone man ever. You know, we got lots more castings of hurt more. HP is not terrible anymore. So yeah, totally fine with the 0-0 is, you know, those stats will come later. But having the magic is right now is nice, and he's Kigalis is making progress here. So we want to
Yeah,
find.
Zarnax finds level 12 as
I
well.
don't think we've seen the mountain cave or the grave yet, right? So we've got all these treasure chests sitting around unopened, and we're also still looking for Rimildar and some way to get keys, right? So almost 40 minutes in, nobody has keys.
Well, as Monty finds another cave, I don't think we've seen this one yet, and he finds the mountain cave. No, grave looks like. So we do have at least something. So we're going to see what happens here.
No resources. Can he get away from the red dragon? He cannot heal unless he's got some herbs. You can out heal the hurt spell with some herbs, I suppose. But yeah, depending on your agility score, if you have about 90 agility, which is like end game stats, you have about a 50-50 chance to run from a red dragon, and it only gets worse from there. So if you have half that, let's say you have only 45 agility, then you have maybe only like a 1 in 4 chance to run from a red dragon each time. So it looks like their agility stats pretty bad because he's run lots and lots of times here and just can't get away. As we saw other people running into armored knights, unable to get away. So the agility stat is not coming along very quickly, and he just is getting trolled by this. At this point, it's just a time sink, right? You're just like, either let me go or kill me. Do something here. Don't just keep hurting me and not letting me go, right?
At least, thankfully, he's only getting hit by hurt, so there's a super high chance of hurt, and maybe it's just the one punch fist is a low chance. So I'm okay with it. He gets away finally.
Like, doesn't he wish now that he had just gone ahead and bought the hand axe that was sitting right there in the shop? Maybe he could have just started swinging at the red dragon, but he's got no weapon, so he's just no choice but to just run and run and run. And there is Erdrick's armor in a chest.
All right, so first chest there in grave is Erdrick's big shield. So he's able to heal 1 point every time he walks, as well as stop spell resistance. Yeah, and a half DL2, which is one thing we've not seen yet tonight. Is anything with DL2?
Yeah, you're right. We had a few enemies with hurt more, but yeah, no DL2 that I've noticed yet either. So yeah, that is kind of interesting. Maybe not a totally unfriendly seed as far as the enemy set goes, but I feel like the map is kind of the... Look at where this grave is on Osmati's screen. That is out there somewhere. That is way tucked away in a corner of the map, so... Yeah, the exploration is the challenge in this one.
And coming from chat, looks like Demon Knights do have DL2, so I've not really been paying too much attention to DL2s, or the Demon Knights, because people are typically running from them. But if they've got DL2, that's ugly. And stop spell.
Yeah, you see Lavkin got hit with the stop spell, and it actually landed, which makes it more dangerous, because then it's a lot more likely to follow up with the DL2 breath. Yeah, the way the algorithm works for the enemy abilities is that they will cast their non-damage spell first if they have one. So if they have stop spell or sleep or heal more, something like that, then there's a certain chance that they'll cast that first. And then if they don't bother to do that, then it moves on to their secondary ability if they have one. So and once the stop spell lands, then it won't cast it anymore. So then it's like, all right, well, now if he has the DL2 breath, you better get away because it's coming.
Yeah, and kind of watching, Keeglis gets sent home by the Blue Dragon again, and Zarnax, from nowhere, has taken the experience lead.
Yeah, I noticed Zarnax was making quite good progress a few minutes ago with some of the hurt more targets. And I haven't seen how many towns and caves he's actually found. Looks like his tracker is pretty bare there still as far as quest items and the like. But yeah, although first to 13, so he is pulling ahead with the experience, and as long as he can round everything up fairly quickly, he'll have a little bit of an advantage here.
So Lavkin finding coal, so he's got his token. He bought a thing of chainmail. So yeah, okay, he's going to be able to kind of keep up and take a few more hits now. He's going to take the inn that he forgot to stop at before he walked out of town, get his magic and HP back, and he'll be good to go for a little bit longer.
I would say the advantage now is going to go to Asmati Games, though. He doesn't have the experience lead, but what he does have is Erdrick's armor, and he just found the town of Rimildar. So he is the first of our runners to find keys. He's going to use 2 of them here to open the back doors to the inn and get the 1 chest, which is just a torch. But now he's got some places to revisit. There's 4 chests sitting back home in the Statistical Castle. If he has seen Garanham, then there's 3 more chests back there and potentially a cave. Could be Mountain Cave, for example, with a whole bunch more chests. So, yeah, getting keys in a seed like this could be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and he's trying to make that decision: longsword or broadsword or large shield. And went with the large shield since he's already got the defensive capabilities. So he's got the hurt more for his offense. Got Erdrick's armor, so he's able to get out and about. It looks like he's surrounded by a swamp, so he's going to head back somewhere and go try to check out these key locations and see what he can find.
I actually like the large shield pickup there. Like you said, you can rely on the hurt more for the most part. It's not perfect because there are enemies that resist hurt more, but you can get by with just using hurt more. They got pretty good MP to work with now. But besides that, you never find a shield. So whatever you buy for a shield, that's going to be it. If there happens to not be a gold grind available, the large shield is the best you're going to do. So you might as well pick it up when you can. Whereas with weapons, at some point along the way, most of the time you are going to find Erdrick's sword, right? So whatever you buy will be just basically replaced and obsoleted by Erdrick's sword somewhere down the line. So yeah, in this case, I like the idea to pick up the large shield. Nice play for Asmati. And again, he's got those keys. He didn't just try and get back home straight away. He's going to continue exploring. But he's got some places to revisit pretty quickly with those keys now.
And Zarnak's fighting that red dragon up there. He's going for swagmore shots and just not catching them.
Okay. Yeah, there's always a chance. I think any enemy you have always at least a 1 in 16 chance to land a hurt more on any enemy in the game just because of how it works with the bit math or whatever. So yeah, you can, even with the final boss, the Dragon Lord's second form, if you get lucky, you can land a 1 in 16 shot and do huge damage. So yeah. Sometimes if you're just taking a death warp anyways, you might as well go for it. If you get lucky, you get huge experience. But yeah, so yeah, Zarnax is continuing with the experience lead. Trying probably to get just run from the wizard, which is another enemy that has high hurt more resistance. Demon Knights, wizards, a lot of the end game enemies have some or almost total hurt more resistance. So yeah, finds another wizard. And look at how many tries it's taking to get away just from a wizard. So we haven't seen anyone pull up their stat menus, but I feel like they might have like 30 agility. It's got to be really bad in this seed.
Yeah, so Asmati going home and found Erdrick's sword and the fighter's ring in the Tanagil treasury. So he has found a amazing shot here. So he put on the fighter's ring. He dropped his dragon scale, though, I noticed.
Yep, as long as you've actually put on the dragon scale, that's one of the quirks in the game. You'll retain the defensive capabilities even if you sell it or drop it later on. And the same goes for the fighter's ring. So a lot of times what you do is, if you have the dragon scale in your inventory and you pick up the fighter's ring, you just look for the dragon scale as the thing that you want to replace, and vice versa, so that you're not clogging up your inventory. But it is weird, and I kind of wonder if that was on purpose by the developers or if that was just like an oversight. But yeah, it is a little weird. And originally you didn't even get a bonus for the fighter's ring, but in the randomizer you do get +2 offensive power for putting on the fighter's ring. So there's that.
And see, that's an actual bit of knowledge I did not know. I've been playing this game for years. And right under the castle is Mountain Cave, so we do have a little bit of a exploration of bonus here now towards Asmati. In my opinion, I kind of give, like you said earlier, I give the lead bonus to Asmati right now, just because of Erdrick's sword and armor now at this point.
Oh, and just like he has keys and he's like way further along with exploration. I mean, he's definitely has a great chance to win this race. Zarnax, by the way, is going to take his shot at the Blue Dragon on level 13. So he's got heal more and hurt more to work with here. So this should be clear sailing. Doesn't really have a weapon, so he is going to have to withstand, however many times he's going to miss with the hurt more. It's a little aggravating. But he should have enough resources to eventually get this guy. And he'll have the death necklace once he searches the spot. And then he's someone that might potentially remember to search it a few more times for some extra money, if there happened to be a broadsword in Garanham. I think someone said there wasn't, though. I think it was hand axe and flame sword only. So I'm not sure exactly what you'd want to grind up for in this situation, but the option will be there if he can take this guy down. Wow, he's having a lot of struggle. He's got 1 hurt more left.
Yeah, these blue dragons are just not having it tonight. But he does get the second shot in. He's going to take him down.
Gets it. Wow,
he's going to get that death necklace on the last shot.
Turned into an epic battle there. So death necklace in hand. So if anyone's not familiar with Randomizer, death necklace has been improved in this version of the game so that you can actually use it on purpose to sacrifice 25% of your hit points in order to gain a flat 10 points of strength, which in many cases is pretty useful towards the very end when you're going to fight the Dragon Lord. A lot of times the strength score is the last thing that you need. And if you just have, way too much hit points that you're not doing anything with, it can be a nice trade-off towards the end. It does still curse you, and so there are some drawbacks associated with that, but it's something that all of our runners, once they find it, for the most part, they'll keep it in their inventory just in case they need it towards the end of the seed.
And while you were going there, Asmati did find the harp in Mountain Cave, so that's a nice little find. He has 2 of the items required. We still haven't found Cantlin, so we still have the possibility of something on the coordinates location, as well as Asmati just swinging through the red, finding it has heal more. So hurt and heal more. That is ugly.
It's funny, I haven't actually noticed them opening up chests and finding any cursed belts, but there's some logic involved to how likely is it that the third search spot will actually have an item. We know that there was an item in Hawksness and there was one in Cole. But yeah, if there is one on the overworld, then it's a 50-50 chance that it's the last thing that Asmati needs, right? It has to either be the Stones of Sunlight or the Fairy Flute at this point. So, if he can get his way back to Cantlin, I feel like he is the one that found it early on, didn't he? I think he found Cantlin earlier. Somebody found Cantlin.
I don't remember Cantlin being found, but there was one cursed belt in the treasury. Somebody's already kind of thrown that out there. I do remember seeing that. So there's one cursed belt down, but there's still 2 to find.
Yeah, I think he had some glitched chest stuff going on there, and I don't know that he even cares at all about any possibilities of gold grinding, because he already has the large shield and he's got the Erdrick's gear. At this point, a lot of times this late in the race, it would just kind of be a time sink to just grind up for that silver shield, which we did see one, but it's oftentimes a little bit more optional in the late game. It's not always necessary, so he doesn't seem to be too worried about it. He's walking out of the... do they still not have the outside still? Wow.
No, not having outside right now. Still at level 13, and there. Yeah, I was going to say there was one gold chest inside of Mountain Cave, so there's a possible gold grind. But again, you got to get everything else before going back to the gold chest.
So, a question in chat: does the gear that can be obtained in one instance affect the gear that can be obtained in someone else's game? No, everybody is going to have the exact same. Everything's going to be in the chests and on the search spots in the same way, because they're playing. They basically play a roll for a seed number. You feed the seed number into your randomizer, so it'll spit all the information out in the exact same way when it generates the game file for them. So, yep, everybody. So once we see something pop up on one person's screen, we know that everyone will have that same experience.
Yes, that is a correct statement, Jason. So it'll be, if there's only one left for that one specific person, it's going to be just with that specific person. Everybody else still has to find their items and whatnot within their game.
So still, I'm giving the edge to Asmati Games, the one with the keys and 2 of the 3 quest items and all of the Erdrick's gear. He's just got to find those Stones of Sunlight, which there's a fairly decent chance that it's going to be, at those coordinates from if he can find his way to Cantlin. Whereas everybody else has multiple locations still to be found and explored. We've got to get the sword out of the cave there. We got to get, in Lavkin's case, he doesn't yet have Erdrick's armor either. The harp was in, where Asmati found the harp, and nobody else has found that yet. So He's pretty far along exploration-wise, even though Zarnax continues to pull ahead with the experience.
Yeah, and looking at Keeglis, he's found the armor, so he's been down in Mountain Cave. He's got the armor. He just needs to go and find the sword, and he'll be pretty well caught up. But if he goes find the sword, he'll find the harp, and he'll get caught up too. But he's still waiting for the fighter's ring as well. But he's got keys now. We'll see when he gets back to the castle what he decides to do. So we know where that's at. We know where the exploration as far as that goes. But we still haven't found Cantlin. We still have not found either Swamp Cave. And again, we don't even know if the princess is going to get rescued tonight or not.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I guess that someone pointed out that the Swamp Cave probably has to be in the backside of Garenham, which Kigalis has keys, and I don't think anyone's actually been back through this door yet, right? So maybe if he has a spare key, he'll be the first to open these 3 chests back here and check out what the cave is. And if it's Swamp Cave, maybe if you're saying we haven't seen Cantlin yet, I thought somebody found Cantlin, but if not, then maybe that's on the other side of Swamp Cave on a second island, perhaps. So
and that's
goes Kigalis the doorway.
Yeah, so and there's a good possibility that their stones could be here too, but again, we're going to find out here real quick. Curse Belt 2, gold, and more wings. So it looks like on the other side we go. But Keeglis is not going to go. He's going to take a quick rest, get his magic and HP back. He knows he's got that walk. And of course, at the same point, you can also search that spike tile, see what's there for a possible grind experience-wise.
Yeah, and there's also the possibility in some cases, if you feel like Cantlin is going to have something important, you have the option late in the game like this to maybe go for a preemptive princess rescue, where you fight your way through that spike tile, go ahead and use your key, rescue the princess, and you can maybe just carry her around with you for a while. You don't necessarily have to make a side trip back home to officially rescue her right away. You can just kind of carry her around in your arms for the rest of the game and, looking for Cantlin. And if Cantlin doesn't have any coordinates, well, she's not going back home. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a way to hedge your bet. And sometimes you can save quite a lot of time when, you do finally find Cantlin and its coordinates that you really want the princess, if the coordinates are really far away. Then you just head back home, turn her in, and get moving. So Asmati is going to check it out, and it is another blue dragon. So as far as grind choices, it's the same choice in both of our spike tiles tonight. It's the blue dragon, which doesn't have any abilities, I don't think, does it? Or did it have a heal spell or something?
I have not seen the blue dragon come up with anything except for punch more. The only one that I have seen is the red dragon does have hurt and has heal more. So that's an ugly combination, but not terrible.
Yeah, so it is going to be useful to have the Urgic Sword like Asmati does. If we need more stats at the end, it's going to be much better to use the sword so that you can, maybe 2 or 3 shot, probably in most cases 3 shot, maybe 4 shot a blue dragon, instead of having to deal with the hurt more resistance on that grind. So Asmati's the only one so far that has Urgic Sword. And presumably everyone else will have it before they get themselves grinding, but sometimes, that's not the case. Zarnax here is in the grave, so he's just picked up his armor. Yeah.
So, and looking at it, we do have Lavkin, who has managed to catch up to everybody experience-wise. He's at 13, kind of doing his thing, and everybody's, as far as experience goes, is pretty even, but again, Asmati still with that barely edging lead.
So look where this Kigalis is kind of way out on the eastern edge across these bridges. He found the Staff of Rain trading cave. I'm not sure if he's the first one to have seen that yet, but he unfortunately doesn't have the harp. So like in Asmati's case, if he stumbles across this, he'll just turn it in right away and he won't have to come all the way back over here later to turn that in, right? But in Kigalis' case, he's like, oh, well, I don't have the harp. Now I just have to remember that it's here, and I'm going to have to go all the way back over here a little bit later. Chat's saying that you had to go through Swamp Cave, which is through Garenham, and that's where you go to trade in the Staff Cave. So Asmati does exactly that. He finds it, and he's doing the thing with the princesses in his arms again that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, everything that Asmati's been doing, it's working out quite well.
Yeah, Kegel is going ahead and finishing up the rest of the exploration for this part. He could easily find Cantlin here as well because again, I think we've pretty well searched out the main continent, and I didn't see Cantlin anywhere. But again, that's not saying that everybody's explored every single part of that just yet either. And Zarnak's getting all the way down to the bottom of the mountain cave there, or grave. I'm sorry, grave, and finding a key. So it looks like he's going to get ready either. I don't think that we have outside. Oh, we do have outside now. So yeah, I mean, he could easily outside this and just call it a day. But it looks like coordinates are going to have the stones. Everything else has been searched out.
Hey, Kagalis has found it. So it's over here on the second continent somewhere, which means Osmati's probably less than a minute away from finding it as well. With Erdrick's armor, you don't take damage from these tiles. You're just going to go get the coordinates, and there are coordinates, and they are fairly far away. So the play that Osmati has made, and he has found it, the fact that he's carrying the princess, this is going to work out perfectly for him. He's just going to go get the coordinates. He can cast return or use his wings or whatever he wants to do. Trade in the princess and just go from there. Very nice play.
Yeah, it's just that one's just too far of a stretch to try to count out. I mean, it's countable. Don't get me wrong. If you have the time and the memory for it, it's countable. But I think with the princess, yeah, it's just so much simpler just to carry her home. I mean, you're right there.
Yeah, and a lot of players, even if they're not drawing maps, they will keep a pencil and paper handy just for this one purpose. You got to write down these coordinates because you also have to write down the directionals, right? So it's 85 north and 13 west. It's fairly important, and it's a very common mistake to actually reverse the directions on that to get the right number of steps, but walk in the wrong direction. So yeah, you're going to take a minute, write those down on a piece of paper so you can refer back to it. And Osmati is not immediately going back home, so I'm not sure because, let's see, he did find the staff trading cave. What would he still be looking for? Has he not seen the rainbow drop cave, perhaps? Wonder why he wouldn't just go
I don't believe... I was going to say, I believe the only one that's found Jerk Cave is Kegelis, so he's the only one that has that information.
Yeah, so he just, I guess Osmati just wants to finish out the second continent here. If he can just do this little loop around, I don't think it's very far. He's going to pretty much run out of map here, and once he determines that the second continent's fully cleared, he'll probably just go ahead and turn the princess in back home at that point, because otherwise you're going all the way back through Swamp Cave, going back through Garenham, and that's an area of the first continent that you've probably already explored. So yep, there's the return spell from Osmati. He's finished exploring second continent. Here comes the princess rescue, and so the princess, when you rescue her, she actually gives you a special item in your inventory to denote the love that she has for you. And practically speaking, what it does is it helps you figure out where you are on the map, so that you can actually track down the overworld item that's just laying out in the grass somewhere. So he's doing that now. He's going to grab the item, and he's going to use that to zero in on what hopefully for him is the Stones of Sunlight. It could still actually be the flute unless, literally everything else outside of Sharlock has been explored. In which case, then
yeah, I think with all the knowledge that we do have of everybody else's runs, I believe it's going to be stones. Just for the simple fact is that everybody else has already grabbed everything. Zarnak's grabbed everything down in the bottom of Grave, and I didn't see a flute. So it looks like flute is going to be in Sharlock Castle, and this coordinates are going to be stones.
Yeah, Stones of Sunlight, of course, are required to get into Sharlock Castle, so it is guaranteed by the randomizer software to not actually be in Sharlock, because you would soft lock the game and you wouldn't be able to get into the castle. So, yeah, so quest items like that are guaranteed to be found out here on the world somewhere. Some of the more optional items like the fairy flute or the death necklace actually could be found in Sharlock Castle. So, yeah, if all of the chests have been found by one of our runners, and we haven't found the stones yet, and we've seen the other two search spots, then this is the very last place that the stones could be, and he'll as soon as he hones in on it, he'll have his last quest item, and he's got the Erdrick's gear, so he'll be in what we call grind and go mode, where all he'll need is more levels.
And I believe this is Keegless' first return back to the castle since getting keys. So he's not grabbed the fighter's ring, he's not grabbed the sword, and he's not grabbed the harp. So he's getting ready to hopefully head downstairs and grab all that since he's already here. And of course, Asmati heading up to go grab his stones, and he's already got level 14. Well, actually, all of our runners have level 14, with the exception of Lavkin, who isn't far behind.
Well, Asmati's actually very close here.
Keegless takes one step too far, and
oh no,
he goes outside the castle.
That's actually a fairly long. Like, you lose quite a bit of time when that happens. That's a shame for him.
Yeah, and looking at Zarnax, he has enough money now for his silver shield. So Zarnax with a little bit of an edge here.
So yeah, well, maybe we missed it, but perhaps there was a gold glitch activated, and maybe there was a chest, a gold chest, like down here in Mountain Cave or something. So he tried to get the money.
Yeah, there is one. There's one down there. It is right next to the Erdrick's armor chest.
Nice. And so he's already seen the silver shield. I believe we saw it in Breckenary, right? The first town that we visited. So it's close by, and so for him, he feels like it's worth the time to grind up the money and go get the shield. Sometimes it's a little bit, it's a risk-reward thing, or pros and cons to it. There are some advantages, of course, in addition to taking less damage. With the current flag set that we all run under, Repel actually works in dungeons, which in the original game it did not. So when you do go into Charlotte Castle at the end, if you have increased your defensive capabilities with the Silver Shield, then you actually can repel more monsters, and so that'll increase, or it'll allow you to dive through that castle a bit faster than your opponents. So, some of the time that it took to grind up the money, you might save on the back end. So that's what he's hoping for.
Yep, so Zarnax does pick up that Silver Shield. He is completely geared out at this point. He just needs to get the last little bits and pieces of everything. So he's got to go back to Girenham, get through there, get to Swamp. And of course, Asmati is picking up his Rainbow Drop, so he is in grind and go mode at this point. We do know for a fact that Flute is going to be down there in the castle in Charlock. So, yeah, I mean, it's only really going to be effective if you find a Golem on that last spike tile. But at the same point, there's also that. We still have that complete grind through Charlock Castle.
Yeah, there is in Randomizer, there's an extra spike tile right before you get to the Dragon Lord. There's a 1-tile wide passage that you have to walk through, and in the Randomizer, a spike tile is placed there as a required battle. It's a quote-unquote mini-boss that you have to fight in order to get to the Dragon Lord. It takes the place of the old spike tile that used to guard the town of Cantlin, which, of course, in Randomizer, we don't have a wall around Cantlin. It's just a town that you can walk into for free, so that spike tile was moved into Charlotte Castle. So yeah, if there is a golem and it happens to be really nasty, then occasionally the Fairy Flute can be useful in that situation, but they're not going to go looking for it. Like you said, they're not going to go out of their way and go search the treasury in Charlock just in case, they need it for the mini-boss. So yeah, they're not going to be having the Fairy Flute in this seed. They're just going to go without. And my prediction is Asmati is going to be beating up lots of blue dragons, since that is the grind tile on both of our spike tiles. He's going to go into Hawk's Nest for that spike tile, since the inn is just a few steps away from Hawk's Nest. So
Lorgan, give us the heads up. Somebody has brought up the stat menu at level 14. 67 strength and 69 agility at level 14. So not terrible, not great, not terrible.
Yeah, so it just means we have a couple of more levels to go. They do have Erdrick's Sword to work with. It's in some seeds, Erdrick's Sword would be sitting in Charlotte Castle, and you'd be doing this grind, let's say, with a hand axe. Then it would be a little slow. But yeah, in this case, doing some damage with the Erdrick's Sword, and they do have Heal More to work with. And like we said, the inn is right next door. The Blue Dragon doesn't have any special abilities, so it's nothing dangerous about this grind. It's just, a matter of it's not as fast as some other grinds could be. But he'll just, move his way through these blue dragons. It's probably a better choice, let's say, than actually just going into Charlock and looking for strong enemies in Charlock, just walking around. Sometimes that's another option. But yeah, in this case, let's just beat up some blue dragons. So we have somewhere in the order of, we're getting close to triple-digit MP, right? I'm not sure if we're there yet. So we're going to be looking for strength of somewhere around 90 or more strength. So in chat, they said we have 67 strength. So you'll on these level ups here, we'll be looking to see if they gain, how over the next few levels they're going to need, maybe 20 or 25 more strength. That's the main stat that they'll be looking for. They might need a few more hit points right now. No, the triple-digit HP is enough, and they have that on level 14. Yeah. So basically, all they need now is that strength score.
Lorgan brings up a good point. The desert left of Sharlock is a good grind because you've got a lot of armored knights. You have a lot of enemies that are given at least triple-digit experience. And looking at Zarnax at his max HP and MP when he walked into Spike or Swamp, he has 102 HP and 100 magic points at level 14. So not terrible in that department. We're actually sitting where we could make a go with this, but I'm grinding at least one more level before I even attempt. So yeah, this is one of those. This is a big race.
Oh, on level
14.
Yeah. It's just that the strength just isn't there. Yeah. So I mean, they have pretty good magic to work with. But yeah, they're gonna need about 90 strength if they have, triple-digit MP to work with. So we're just not there yet. We do have the hit points, and another thing to note, some of our runners found that death necklace, right? And so if they were to gain some hit points, but they don't gain any strength, you start running into that situation where you have to do some mental math and figure, well, maybe I can get 10 more strength if I curse myself. I could put on the necklace and sacrifice some hit points that I don't need, and get the necessary stats that way. So they have all that in the back of their minds while they're fighting these blue dragons here. Magic number for level 15 is 7,500. So Asmati Games needs 2 more blue dragon victories, and then we'll see what he gets.
Yeah, Zarnax going into Cantlin. He's about to go find his coordinates. And then we've got Lavkin in Mountain Cave picking up his chests and whatnot. So he's got his armor. He is on the path to moving forward as well. So here we are, minute 10, almost a minute 10 in, and we've got one person who's completely ready. And of course, we know that Keegless knows he's got to go back to the other side of the continent to go pick up his staff, and he'll be ready to go as well. And Zarnax with the experience lead, he's already got his staff. He's just missing the stones, but he's got the princess, I believe, in his arms and ready to go and drop her off.
So, by the way, and I was wondering when this was going to happen. Lavkin has had enough of these red dragons, so he casts the stop spell just in case the red dragon shows up with like heal more or something. He lands the stop spell, and he is just hacking away at the red dragon with the hand axe, doing 10 or 15 damage at a time. It can have up to 106 hit points or something. So it'll be about 8 or 10 attacks, but he will eventually get this red dragon for 255 experience, and it does have heal more. So nice play to actually stop the spell before going through this process. So yeah, I mean, the red dragons just aren't dangerous, and at some point along the way, it's like, you know what, I can't run from this guy, I should just fight it. And so Lavkin with a nice play there to take it down.
Yeah, and as Madi does pull up to 15, 1, 2, 2, and 0, so we are still not ready. It's going to be in that level 16 map. That's rough as far as the stat gains go there. Yeah, but as Madi taking, I was going to say, Lavkin taking down that red dragon, that's a free 255 experience. But this golem is just kind of eating him alive as far as the punch.
Yeah, and the golem can have a lot of hit points, so I'm not really sure that he should be fighting this enemy. They are not as hard to run away from as the red dragon, so in most cases you probably want to just run here. You're doing 15 damage at a time. I think it can have over 150 hit points. I mean, he probably will get this for the 255, but man, it's a long battle.
Actually, no, he will not get it because golems have heal more. So if a golem is on that spike tile down there in Sharlock, that's going to be pretty ugly.
Yeah, interesting. Well, Lavkin has the scouting report now. He has that information. So if he does run into one in the spike tile, you can bet that turn 1 he's going to try and throw the stop spell out there, which our other runners, maybe wouldn't have that information. So, yeah, so sometimes it's interesting to just go ahead and fight Sharlock enemies for that reason.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else has actually taken the moment there to actually fight a golem. I think everybody's taken off from it. But again, everybody has stopped spelling the reds because they know that they have that. The actual punch is still super fucking spicy. Pardon my language. I'm sorry.
Nice. It's very spicy. So the oh, by the way, Asmati Games did finally get the experience lead over Zarnax, who also seems to be doing a bit of grinding on the Blue Dragon in the Swamp Cave, although he still has a little bit of work to do rounding up the last few items, I believe. But yeah, Asmati Games has been on the dedicated grind for a while, and that shows you the power of the spike tile, whereas everybody else is just kind of running around the map, hurt-mooring, whatever happens to pop up. He's fighting Blue Dragons every single step, or every other step. And so, I think he had about a 1,000 point deficit, maybe a little more, behind Zarnax, and now he's up at 8,500 with the experience lead here. So, Asmati Games in clear control of the race.
Yeah. So again, Asmati with the lead on everything at this point, but Keegless is right behind him. He just hit 15, finding the disappointing news of the poor stats on level 15. All he has to do is find Jerk Cave, and he's good to go, though.
Yeah, so that 1,220 is kind of trolly. It's almost no progress on the strength stat, which is the main stat that they're looking for here on the final grind. Asmati is about 1,250 away from level 16, magic number 9750 for that level up. And each Blue Dragon victory is worth 180, so you can do some math and figure that out. But level 16, among other things, that is the level in Randomizer where you're guaranteed to learn every spell. They don't really need any more spells in this case, but every once in a while that's a thing to keep in mind. Particularly, you need the Heal More spell usually to win the game, and you're guaranteed to learn it by level 16. So once he gets this level up, he'll have all the spells, and he'll just be looking for the stats.
Yeah, so this will definitely be interesting to see what 16 brings. If 16 does not bring near enough strength at this point, I really am not going to look forward to having to grind out to 17 to get this one finished.
Oh, I can almost guarantee we're going to 17. I mean, we're not even that close on strength. If what we saw before was true, right? They only have 68 strength right now, so. And like we said, there is a backup plan. If they gain a whole bunch of hit points, then you can factor in 10 more strength by using the Death Necklace. But yeah, we're not that close yet. I think we're going to at least 17 unless we see a huge level here. So we'll see that in what it looks like 4 more Blue Dragon victories. Yeah, 4 more will do it.
Yeah, something like that. And again, I did see Keegless had brought up the stat menu at 15, but I didn't get a chance to look at it, and I just don't have any opportunity to get back and clip it to see if I could see what his stats are sitting at. But again, if it's any, if everybody's kind of seen it and looked at it, it's just 25 strength is the minimum that they're going to need just to get off the ground.
I was actually wondering if Keegless has slightly different stats. He has a different name, so I'm not sure if we ever confirmed if he's on the same stat build. But for those less familiar with the game, your name actually determines one of about 4 different ways that your stats can grow, with some minor variants about how your stats grow through the whole game. So depending on what you choose there. So they are saying that it is strength HP, which is what everybody else is using. So it wouldn't make a difference in this case.
Yeah, so he's going to pretty much be building up the exact same way everybody else is. We've seen it so far that he's pretty much got the same stat gains. It's just going to be whoever gets this level 16 is going to be in go mode, I think. Or at least, I'm so sorry. At least in drop down into Sharlock and see what's down there and see what the run through Sharlock's going to look like.
So now we're seeing the chest that Zarnax got his grind on. It's one of the top chests in the grave. That pair of chests up there, which normally holds, I believe, the fighter's ring. So Lavkin triggered that with the gold glitch, and he gets himself some silver shield money. We're not showing him having any shield right now. So if that's the case, that'll be quite a boost. And he gets his harp out of the middle chest. So yeah, pretty good run
as Madi
for
hits
Lavkin, but yeah, still behind with exploration.
So as Madi hits 16 and not super nice, only 3 strength, 3001 out of that level. So yeah, to 17 we go.
Yeah, so the next couple of levels, it's the same amount of experience between each level. So the next level up will be at 12,000 points even. The next one after that would be 14,250. Unfortunately, though, if you have to go further than that, it starts to actually get even worse. You have to get 3,000 experience between every level after that. So here's hoping that we get this done in the next couple of levels so that we're not here all night watching Blue Dragons.
Yeah, so we've got quite the grind here. We'll be here for just a little bit doing that. In the meantime, while we have a little bit of a grind going on, we'll go ahead and kind of give some acknowledgement to the folks in the background, because we can't do this alone. We're literally just sitting here talking. But we do have Kaimon Rinakai, as well as, oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. I think it's just Kaimon Rinakai doing our tracking tonight. So yeah, we've got Kaimon Rinakai doing the tracking. And of course, SpeedGaming putting us on for our restream. So you guys make sure to give everybody a follow, as well as our racers here, because, you know, without them, we're just kind of talking to you guys. So give the racers a follow. I follow all of these guys, and they all play all kinds of different games. So much fun to watch these guys.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's true with oftentimes in these four-way races, we'll get 2 people volunteering for tracking duties. So only with Camion only on the tracking to try and track all 4 screens at once, and seemingly doing a perfect job. That is more impressive than you realize. So for the viewers out there, that is a tough task, and much appreciated for sure. So Silver Shield is picked up by Lavkin, so he is geared up as well now. So on the bottom 2 screens, they're going with the large shield only, and on our top 2 screens, they have gone out of the way to get the Silver Shield. So we noted some pros and cons with each of these methods, and some of that will come into play on the dive through Charlotte Castle. And Zarnax is on the grind now in Hawksness, joining our bottom 2 runners. And Lavkin just has a couple of errands to run before he gets into grind and go as well.
Yeah, so just to mirror my partner here, Kaimon Rinakai coming in here just straight up beast mode tonight. So y'all definitely give him a follow. He is just beasting it up on his own. Yeah, so the grind is real right now. We have one person, 16, still continuing to grind out, and we've got Keeglis right behind him, and Zarnax is catching up quickly too. And of course, yeah, Lavkin, couple of tasks still to do, but he'll be in grind and go mode as well. He is definitely, like you said, right up there because he's got that Silver Shield. So honestly, this is going to be who could get down there first. Is this doable at 15? No. Is it doable at 16? No.
Nope. There may be a borderline level at some point, though, where some runners choose to go for it and other runners choose to hang back and get an extra level. And sometimes that can make a difference in a race like this, where it's actually fairly close. They're within a level of each other. It's funny, I actually thought the way the race was playing out about a half hour ago, I thought that Asmati Games was going to have a bigger lead than this. He was the first to get keys. He was in command on that. He had the Erdrick's armor early. He seemed to be finding, towns and caves before everybody else, kind of all the way through the map. And of course, getting keys gave him access to, getting the Erdrick sword and so on and so forth. And yet, everyone else seemed to be able to round up the items quickly enough so that they haven't fallen too far behind in the experience. It just took them a couple of extra minutes, and that's what allowed Asmati to propel himself into the lead. Remember, I want to say he was about 1,000 points behind Zarnax on the experience, right? When he got into the grind tile, and now he has about 1,000 lead over Zarnax, and Kigalis is right in between. So this lead is not actually very large. On a Blue Dragon grind like this, we're looking at somewhere between maybe 400 and 500 points per minute. So this is like a 200 point, or like a 2-minute lead. which easily could be erased with any sort of a death that happens in Charlotte Castle, for example, any kind of Dragon Lord fight failure, and all sorts of other ways that a 2-minute lead could evaporate. So yeah, this race isn't totally over yet, but Asmati Games with the clear advantage right now.
Yeah, it again, the grind is super slow, but it's one of those that it's necessary at this point. I honestly, Keeglis had the beginning game lead with the early exploration, the early jump in XP, and finding Erdrick's or finding some of the key items and whatnot pretty quickly, as well as his armor buying. Mid game though, Asmati kind of came out of nowhere swinging. And then here we are, pretty close to end game, and everybody's super close.
Lavkin's made his way to the second continent, and now he is trading in the harp for the staff over here on the second continent. We are not showing him having the Stones of Sunlight just yet, so still has to deal with perhaps rescuing the princess and tracking that down on the overworld map. He just got really, there was a time period in the beginning where he just fell behind with overworld deaths. He was just running into monsters and going back to the castle. I want to say like around like 1,000 or 1,200 experience total. He just stalled out, and just, sometimes there's nothing you can do. Like, you're just getting the wrong encounters, you're not running, and you're just getting sent home, and it's, your opponents are moving along, and you're just kind of churning your wheels there. So that's kind of the day it's been for Lavkin. He does get his coordinates now, so he'll write those down and perhaps just head straight back over to the Swamp Cave to maybe go for a princess rescue here.
So level 17 brings 3145, not enough to make a dive, or at least an attempt at a dive. So level 18 we go. But Lorgan brings up a really good point. Zarnax knows that overworld grind just outside of Charlotte Castle is really spicy with some armored knights, and at least a couple other things. Like I said, at least in triple digits. So I would definitely be looking at maybe being at that western point of Charlotte Castle and grinding out there.
I want to say we were at like 68 strength a few levels ago, right? And what did we get? We got like a 1, we got a 3, and I believe a 2. So we're still in the 70s, right, for strength. I mean, 70-something strength is basically never enough. So we're definitely going to 18. What was the MP situation now after he took the inn? I think they have a pretty good chunk of MP to work with now.
106 and 108 as far as HP and MP. So.
Not quite as much as I thought. So yeah, I mean, it's assuming they don't get any more MP, you're usually going to want somewhere in the range of 128 to 130 attack power minimum, which is around 90 strength, like we said before. So yeah, we got a little ways to go. We didn't get Death Necklace HP either, as far as I can tell. You want at least around 129, 130 HP to consider using the Death Necklace, because you're sacrificing 25% of your hit points in that case, and you need to be able to withstand the Dragon Lord breath attacks from the Dragon Lord at the end. So you do need some hit points. So yeah, there's no option right now that makes sense to go for it on 17. Even with the newest version where you can throw your fairy waters at the Dragon Lord and do some damage that way, I feel like you're still pretty far away from being able to win. So level 18 is going to be at 14,250, and so the race is on.
Yeah, so just an update as far as the other racers go as well. Nobody has forfeit this race, so I'm only imagining kind of everybody, because I know who all the other racers are on the other side. I can only imagine everybody else is in the same grind and go mode. So I mean, again, no forfeits, and nobody has clocked in a time. So yeah, I think everybody's in the same spot right now.
And there is the princess rescue from Lavkin. So assuming we're just going to hit an outside and a return immediately. I don't think he has any other tasks that he wants to accomplish. I'm not sure if he actually saw the Rainbow Drop Cave already. but he is not going to be looking for it in any case. He's going straight back home to get his Gwaelin's Love, which is the special item that Gwaelin gives you in order to track down the overworld item. So he's taking care of this last errand here. Once he gets the Stones of Sunlight, he can go directly over to the Rainbow Drop Cave and turn all these items in for the Rainbow Drop, which allows you to build the bridge to the final castle. And he'll be in Blue Dragon grinding mode right after that. Everybody else, like you said, on various stages of levels 16 and 17. Osmati Games just over 13,000. Kigalis and Zarnax kind of going back and forth here at around 12,000 even. That's going to be a really close race right now. What is Kigalis is not on the spike tile. He has found a red dragon somewhere. That's a very slow fight, as we can see, even with the Erdrick sword. He is going to get 255, but you're way better off just fighting the blue dragon on the spike tile here.
Yeah, especially considering you have the better option of, you know, 1 or 2 hurt more so it's over. They're thinking Key's going in transit to get out of here, but yeah,
he's just in between the 2 towns, and he happened to find a red dragon, so that is kind of frustrating for him there. But he gets through the fight, gets the 255, picks up 17 on the way, and now he's on his way back. Gets a blue dragon kind of en route to the spike tile. So actually, I feel like he was 300 or 400 points ahead of Zarnax, and Zarnax has actually caught up just because of the nature of the grind itself. You know, there are some variables with, you know, are you 3-shotting the blue dragons, or are you 4-shotting the blue dragons? Are they dodging you like what just happened to Kigalis there, which is a low percentage chance of that happening? You know, how often are you healing? Are you, you know, making use of all your MP? How are your end trips going? All that stuff. So all of those variables have allowed Zarnax to overtake Kigalis on the grind here, and he's moved himself into 2nd place amongst our featured 4.
Yeah, so again, having to go to 18, I'm thinking, hey, you know, unless you're getting like a double-digit strength gain, this is easily going to probably be a 19 or maybe even 20 map. We haven't seen one of those in a while.
Yeah, and I believe it is from 19 to 20 when the levels start getting really far apart. So you're looking at just having to do even more grinding for 1 level up than you normally would.
And Lorgan pointing out that Asmati had a double excellent move. So the double Hakai against the blue dragon. Nice move. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty impressive.
Here we go. Let's see what we get. Looking for strength. 1 power and not enough hit points to make a difference, guys. I think we got enough MP for like 1 extra heal more. We are going to 19. That is just not enough. And some of our viewers here that might not be totally familiar with the game might be wondering, well, why isn't it enough? What is happening here? Why do we need to fight more blue dragons? Well, I guess I'll take a crack at it first, Edge. But it comes down to the math that's required to beat the Dragon Lord at the end. And the Dragon Lord has, you know, certain stats for attack power and defensive power. And as it turns out, whatever your attack power is, you can just subtract 100 off of that. And then you divide by 2, and that's your upper end for your damage. And then you divide by 2 again, that's your lower end. So just as an example, if you have 132 attack power, you'll be doing 8 to 16 points of damage on every swing. So in the randomizer, with standard flags, it turns out that the Dragon Lord has anywhere from 150 to 165 hit points. So you do some math, figure out how many swings it's going to take on average to do that much damage. And you need to be able to cast Heal Mores, you know, to keep yourself alive for that number of turns. And so however much MP you have. So it's kind of a balance between your attack power and your MP. If you have tons of MP, then you'll get more attacks, you know, and if you have less MP, then you're going to need more attack power because you'll have less turns. And so all of our runners are experienced enough to kind of know when you have enough stats to be able to beat the final boss.
And Lorgan does bring up a good point. You still have to make the dive and you're going to run into red dragons, Axe Knight or AKs, 47s. Wizards we've seen are already pretty super spicy, but we've got 2 people with silver shields that are going to be able to possibly at that level 19 and 20 area be able to repel some of those lower range Sharlock enemies. So again, this is going to be really interesting. And of course, I think by the time this grind is over, we may have everybody running with silver shields.
Yeah, and just as an example, if the main battle was between Zarnax and Kigalis, which we can see the experience lead is very close, then Zarnax gets a pretty clear advantage because with the silver shield that he has, which Kigalis doesn't have, he will probably just get less encounters in Sharlock Castle because with the standard flag set, Repel is on in dungeons. So if you cast Repel, which does cost 2 MP, by the way, so if the math is really close, you might not want to be burning the 2 MP, right? But if you do, then you cast Repel, and, like you said, there are some of the lower tier Sharlock enemies, you just won't see it all. And so his dive could be a minute or 2 faster getting to the Dragon Lord than with Kigalis. So that gives Zarnax a slight advantage there.
Yep, and like I said, looking at his Mahdi, he's got 12,000 gold. He's easily going to be able to, by the time this grind is over with, probably get that silver shield. So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be between the 3 of them. It's going to definitely be between who's going to have the tougher climb into Sharlock Castle.
Yeah, so I think we're running out of things to talk about. We've seen lots of blue dragons here. So Asmati Games, we said before, the magic number now is 16,500. So needing 900 more points. I think that's 5 more blue dragon victories. I guess 4 more now, and he'll have his level. So let's see, he has 81 MP, so he'll definitely get the 4 victories before running out of resources. And we'll get a chance to see if 19 is enough. At some point, like you said much earlier, sometimes you'll get like a rubber band effect where you get huge stats all in one level, right? So if you haven't been getting them for 3, 4, 5 levels, you might get 20 or 30 strength all in one level. So there's always that possibility as well.
Yeah, so getting a heads up, off screen, Beta is in overworld grinding, and he's at least keeping pace with these guys. So I can maybe bring up 1 or 2 other racers just to see where they're at as far as some of the grind and stuff. But yeah, Beta keeping up with everybody as far as this goes too. So yeah, again, like I said, I thought we were pretty close, and everybody was in the same spot. So it's going to be whoever can get there first.
Yeah, we haven't been gaining much HP either over the last, I want to say 4 or 5 levels. I think we've been in triple-digit HP mode for a while, and we're not actually that close to Death Necklace territory with HP. But that's another thing to look out for. Well, like you said with that rubber banding, maybe we don't get the strength, but we get 30 or 40 hit points. Then a lot of the math changes there as well. So, yeah, definitely eagerly awaiting level 19 here for Asmati. I think this blue dragon will do it, if I'm reading the screen correctly. It's 180, and he's got to get to 16.5, so let's see what the stats will bring here.
So little tidbit of information here. I was able to bring up Furian's stream. Furian is in Sharlock Castle. He is at the bottom floor right now, just kind of grinding it out a little bit. He's at level 16, so he's there a little early, but he's grabbing all the chests down there. If he grabs that flute, he could make the golem grindable.
So we just got 15 strength on level 19, which is what we were just talking about, one of those possibilities. All of a sudden, double-digit strength growth. With the 15 on top of what we had already, that's pretty clear go time. I don't remember exactly where we were at. Asmati goes directly towards Sharlock and doesn't take the inn, which was right next to the Hawksness there. So maybe is there Breckenary nearby or something? He's gonna have to take an inn somewhere because you need that.
Yeah, Breckenary's right there next to it.
Goes ahead and defeats the Axe Knight instead of just continuing to try to run away from monsters. I think agility might still be an issue, but probably not too terrible anymore now that they're on level 19. So Okay, I just saw. I think it was 81 agility, and I think the strength was around 90. So with 90 strength, with the fighter's ring equipped, of course, then you're up to 132 attack power, and that is enough. It's not like a huge amount though. Let's see what MP they have when it pops up, because you're gonna want about like 12 heal more as a minimum, right? With 132 attack power, and they have a few extra. So yeah, it's they're in pretty good shape. A lot of things would have to go wrong in this dive for Asmati not to get it done in this dive. But you're saying that some runners off screen are almost there, so we'll keep an eye on that. See, we'll give the official results as they come in. But as far as our featured runners here, Asmati is in clear command. He's got probably 3 or 4 heal mores that he could burn if, he really had to. Death Necklace will not be used. We didn't really get the HP. We have a comfortable amount of HP, so that there should never be too much of an issue during the Dragon Lord fight. Just has to get away from some of these monsters. Not sure if he bothered trying to cast Repel. I didn't catch the defense, but with the 81 agility and no silver shield, you're looking at somewhere around 80 defense power, which would only be enough to repel wizards at this point. Probably not worth bothering with.
Yeah. So again, checking on another one of our runners, Diabetes the Second. He is actually at level 19 on his way down. So him and Asmati are super close together right now.
Lavkin, just the way his day is going, he's been sitting here one step away from the inn for about 15 seconds getting trolled by the NPC boss. So just kind of a microcosm of his race. Just things not quite going his way, but he's going to tough it out, continue his grind. Asmati bonking his way through Sharlock in the dark, not wanting to bother using any torches, just gonna memorize his way through this dark maze. And finally decides enough of that, and I'm going to cast Radiant, because the diamond-shaped room here, there are a lot of these little dead ends. You can get pretty lost if you're in the dark, and that's what happened there. The 2 MP that it costs to cast Radiant does not cost him a heal more at the end, so he figures, what the heck, might as well go ahead and light up the room here and just walk through it much easier. Now he is in the second zone, second set of monsters here. Not getting too many encounters, using fairy water to repel, I guess, wizards at this point. He's going to just keep using them. And now we're in the bottom zone, so the last set of monsters here. Whatever mix happens to be in this zone amongst the Sharlock enemies, and he'll make his way towards the mini-boss and the Dragon Lord. We have Kigalis taking a refill, while Zarnax has managed to get a few steps ahead of Kigalis, and he is making his way into Sharlock. It has been an interesting back and forth race between those two. Zarnax had a slight deficit before, but seemed to catch up on the grind, and now with his silver shield, he will probably, well, his repel just ran out there. Be interested to see if he reapplies the repel, because with the silver shield, he'll be repelling all the way up through green dragons. So the wizard, the werewolf, the star wyvern, and the green dragon could be repelled by Zarnax if he wants to reapply the repel spell here.
Yeah, so looking at it, we're fixing to get a good look at this this spike down here. So we're gonna get to see what's exactly on that tile and see how tough this is gonna be. Again, Asmati just kind of walking through here, so it's not too tough for him, even with just a large shield. And the Fun Police, right before the Dragon Lord. He's going to hit that stop spell immediately. So again, not bad. Red Dragon on spike.
I wonder if he knew whether or not the Red Dragon has the heal more. Or if he just kind of, on a hunch, knowing it had the hurt spell, well, maybe it has a heal more. Just on a hunch, decides to stop spell it. I know Lavkin had that.
Well, it paid off for him.
But, yeah, worked out perfectly for Asmati there. And the stop spell only costs 2 MP. A lot of times it is useful to carry like an extra 2 MP into the mini boss fight, unless, you know, in case it's a stone man and you want to cast sleep, or in case it's some enemy that you want to throw a stop spell out there. Nice to have a little extra. That's what he did there. And he still has a full 15 heal mores to work with, and generally only should need about 12 of them on average, about 11 or 12 heal mores. So yeah, this is mostly a lock here. He's going to use some herbs anyways, just trying to make sure that he gets, you know, 2 attacks on the first turn, but...
Yeah, I was kind of curious as why he didn't hit those heals just before he went in there, but hey, it's paying off for him. He's going to at least have 106 going into DL2, so here we go. Break it out, the big one coming in.
Yep, so he should be doing 8 to 16 damage, so he starts off with a 9, which is on the low end, so we're going to have to keep track. If he rolls a lot of 8 and 9s, then it could start getting interesting, but if we're up into the, you know, 14, 15, 16, there's an 8. So, you know, needs to pick it up and at least start rolling average here.
Yeah, because here comes Zarnax right behind him trying to catch up. Zarnax looks like he just walked right through Sharlock pretty much.
Yeah, like I said, with that silver shield, if you are repelling, it can make this dive quite a bit faster, and we're seeing that there with Zarnax, who has the silver shield.
And unfortunately, Keeglis is not getting so lucky. He's running into every little thing that can possibly get onto him there.
Alright, so Asmati Games with the Dragon Lord 2 strategy. So the final boss of the first game, the optimal strategy was attack, heal, attack, heal, attack, heal. Things have changed since then, right? Final bosses of Dragon Quest games have become a lot more complicated, but back in the day, this is what you did. You came in with enough stats, you made sure to heal in between and to attack when you could. And his attack rolls have not been good, but he's got so much extra MP to work with that it shouldn't be a problem.
Now I'm thinking that this is gonna get through it. Yeah, Diabetes was really close, so I kind of looked and saw him. He did have a missed menu on the very first DL2 fight and got sent home, so it's going to be close to see who gets this first. But right now, as our 4 runners, Asmati is right here. He is, I think he's a pretty good ways into this fight. He should be able to finish this with little to no issue at this point.
Zarnax is on the DL1 phase, entering DL2, and Kigalis is on the bottom floor. And Asmati Games should be 1 or 2 hits away now from victory, depending on how much HP this particular Dragon Lord has. 150 to 165 is the range.
Starting to get a little worried here, but I think he's got this. Oh, it's going to be close.
Alright, second to last heal more. He's got 1 left, so he'll have 3 attacks total at least. He's going to throw a Fairy Water at the end there. Okay. Swag Fairy Water.
And gets it with the Fairy Water. All right. Break out the GGs, ladies and gentlemen. He is on his way home.
There we go. Fairy Water does 9 to 16 points of damage, so theoretically very slightly better damage range than the 8 to 16 he was working with his sword, but there you go. Asmati Games gets it done. Get your GGs out, our first of our featured runners. And yeah, Edge, I'll let you bring in the official tallies if anyone else is finished as well.
Yep, so we have Asmati Games finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 1:45.56. Break out those GGs. Well played, Asmati. Amazing. Again, these guys are just right behind me, too.
Sounds like we have Diabetes and Fearon are making their way through as well. And we have Zarnax here, of course, on the Dragon Lord 2 fight. So the finishing times are going to be coming in fast and furious over the next 5 minutes. We'll have several runners finishing up, which, as competitive as this randomizer has been, that's kind of how these races go now. It's fairly close fights with most of these matchups now.
Oh yeah, so yeah, this is again, this is Zarnax's race to take on second here, and in the booth joining us is Asmati Games. Asmati, well played, a fantastic run, man, and GG on the first place finish.
That was an adventure, and then another adventure.
It was several adventures rolled into one.
Yeah, it was like, an hour 20 in. And I'm like, oh, nobody's done yet. And that probably means that we need to be like level 20 or something, and I'm way behind. But apparently I was ahead. That's fun.
Yeah, and just finishing behind you at 147.34, Zarnex 42. Break out the GGs for him. Amazing run. So yeah.
GGs.
So I'll give you this as Marty. Beginning game, Keegalus had this exploration-wise, item-wise. And then mid-game rolls around, and Zarnax pulls ahead. And then as we start closing in on the end game, you come out of nowhere and just take it over.
I had a couple really good walks. The Honeymoon Island walk was great. We got over to Cantlin, had the princess. I was like, yep, all of this has worked out perfectly. So that was a big time saver, I'm assuming.
That was good with the preemptive rescue, for sure. And but yeah, the key moments were definitely a bit before that when you went way out on the map. And I think it was the Grave, was it, that had Earth's armor? You were definitely the first to have that. And then shortly after that, you were the first, at least on screen, to get keys. And so both of those things, even though you might have been a little bit behind experience-wise or whatever, having the armor and having keys in your possession for at least 5 minutes or so before any of our other runners propelled you forward. You were just able to round everything up because you had access, to the treasury, and then you go up into the basement, you get the sword, and so it just snowballs from there. So yeah, having keys just way out there on the map, and you were the first one to get it, that was a big factor here.
Yeah, that was a wild north edge of the map. There's like Garenham, and then Hawksness, and then there's this whole other arm above it with Garen's Grave and Rimmildar way off in the corner. And I had that just super miracle walk to get through all of it with fairly low resources, which was great.
Now, the big kicker was going on to the other side of the map with the harp already and having the princess in your arms.
Right, I had the harp.
Keegalus was right behind you, but he did not have the harp at that time. He had not made it back to the castle to go in and get the harp. So you had that advantage. He had the advantage of kind of getting the coordinates just a little bit before you did, but again, without the princess and the staff, he had to make a trip back over there.
Yeah, that was...
Keegalus down to his last resources here, by the way. Not sure what happened there, but he does get him. Just thought I'd throw that in. So Keegalus, GG's, he'll be heading back. Continue. Sorry about that.
No, I was just saying it was a lot of fun. It was a very interesting map.
I had another thing for you as well. If you want to try and remember all the way back to the beginning of the seed, if you can remember that.
Once upon a time.
So this was one of those weird... Oh, Zarnax is here as well. So for both of you guys, what do you think about these situations where you go like levels like 6, 7, and 8, and you have like 10 MP or something? So in this case, you had Hurtmore to work with, but it's like 1 or 2 castings of Hurtmore. And other times it could happen where maybe you have the heal spell or something, but it's like you can heal 1 time or something. So what do you do about that in this situation? Asmati, I feel like there was at least one stretch where you stopped in a certain desert area and you were just kind of like looking for Axe Knights. You were like, I just want to go a little further here because we just don't have any magic to get anywhere.
Well, I figured like if I could just get the next level, that was going to be the one that had 30 MP, and eventually that happened. But because my first Axe Knight grind was due north of home, next to the Tablet Cave, and that was okay, but there was a much better one to the east with Breckenary right above Charlock, and I eventually got there, and it was much nicer.
All right, guys, I want to break in here real quick. I've got some updates for some times and placings, so give me just a moment here. We do have, in third place, Beta Strap finishing with an official SRL time of 1:48.39. Diabetes in second, finishing in fourth with an official 1:49.04. DK 91.46, finishing fifth with an official 1:49.52. Keegalus in sixth, finishing with 1:50.20. And also joining us in the Zarnax and Keegalus, both. GG, gentlemen, an amazing race. Super close race from everybody here.
GG's. Man, yeah, I was shocked that no one had finished when I entered Charlock. I I was already surprised no one was done. And I said, like, after I killed the Dragon Lord, can I finish top 4? I don't know. I expected it to be that tight, because, man. Oh, sorry, Schmike. Not sure if...
No, we're hearing you. Yeah, that's. I think from what I remember, Zarnax, it was like I felt like your first 5 minutes went really poorly. I don't know what you think.
But it was atrocious. Yeah, I felt like I was 10 minutes behind the entire race because, we had Hurt More at level 2, which took me too long to get because I was trying to get cute with the torches and metal scorpions. And then, yeah, we had Green Dragons and Axe Knights, both easily accessible right outside Tanagel. And it took me... I didn't break 200 experience until 13 minutes in.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I was like, man, Zarnax is just way behind here. But then, like, somewhere along the way, you just were burning through the levels. And we turned around next and it was like, wow, Zarnax has the experience lead because your start was so bad that I wasn't sure if you were just sitting somewhere and grinding for a while just to catch up because you knew that it was a rough start. But it seemed like you made up for it, but man, yeah, it's tough when things go that poorly so early on in a longer like this.
I think it was over 20 minutes in when I landed when I had my first green dragon that went down to 1 hurt more. I had like 4 or 5 green dragons. I'd either hit it with a hurt more and it wouldn't kill it, or it would miss. My first 2 hurt mores on an Axe Knight failed to kill them. Yeah, the start was terrible. And then, yeah, once I found those Axe Knights right next to Breckenary, then I started finally cruising a bit and wanted to have either a heal spell or repel or something before I even thought about really trying to explore.
Rude.
Yeah, Zarn. Sorry, I was going to say, yeah, Zarn, we noticed those first 2 restarts off the metal slimes, and it's like, man. And then we're talking about Keeglis and his exploration advantage. We're talking about Asmati and his Erdrick's armor advantage, and then we look up and you pulled ahead of everybody. We're like, when did this happen, man? Wow. And saying that, Keeglis, man, you jumped out there at level 4 ahead of everybody else, and then started your exploration, and it was super easy, and you made it look super easy on a very large map, very spread out, and again, for you getting in that cave and pulling some armor and whatnot first helped your exploration immensely.
Yeah, that like getting the money and then getting over to Garenham pretty early helped. Yeah, finding those Axe Knights next to tablets. I don't know, it was really nice. I felt good once I got the armor. I'm like, okay. And then just like, others had said, when you enter Sherlock and nobody is done, or, you're on the last floor, it's like, okay, this is mine to lose. And then, 5 people finish.
Yeah, we made the comment on that everybody had to be like super close together, and then we have a couple of the guys who went and checked other streamers. I checked a few of the other runners as well, and you were all like neck and neck pretty much.
Yeah, I had that horrible encounter luck in the last floor for Sherlock, and the first floor too, I think. So
yeah, first floor was a little rough for you. I saw that.
Yeah, you and Asmati both decided to forego any sort of grinding for the Silver Shield. So Lavkin and Zarnax both got the Silver Shield, which in this case, it does help to be repelling a lot of Sherlock monsters for that encounter luck there. But I know that by the time it became available, it was definitely kind of a tough call whether or not it was worth the time to go get the Silver Shield. So you decided not to get it, and you did end up having a lot of Sherlock encounters. I did notice that.
I was 1,400 gold off. Did I have enough? Yeah, I was close. I had like 13,000 at the end.
Yeah, by the time you finished the Blue Dragons, you were like just a small amount off, and
I considered it, but then I was like, that's another 5 minutes probably at least. That would have been the difference.
Oh yeah, Zarn, it was crazy because we're watching your fight and just watching you. You unfortunately low rolled so many of those, like up to like beginning to mid DL2 was so low rolled on your end, and it was just awful. And the next thing we know, Zarnax is just getting ready to start fighting DL1. It's like, did he fight anything?
Yeah, you can repel a lot of stuff with that silver shield. I kind of like the fact that the flag set we run with now has, that you can repel things in the dungeons, because it does make the silver shield more valuable now.
Yeah, I was glad I remembered. Like, I was trying to do the math. I had to. I always. There's so many numbers to process when you hit, the go level, and I was debating. Do I want to look at my numbers again? I probably should, to see. I probably can spare a heal more, or maybe I can use. I probably have some MP for repel. Oh, wait a minute, my strength is good enough. I can use fairy waters. I'm not going to need those on Dragon Lloyd. And yeah, I think my defense was 90, so I was repelling a good chunk of stuff. I think I saw one Star Wyvern, and I was like, wait a minute, I shouldn't be seeing these, and cast repel right out of that fight, and the rest of that walk was super smooth.
Oh, I got a question. What was the stop spell resist on Red Dragons? I was, I think, 3 for 7 by the end of the seed.
We don't have that tracker on SpeedGaming.
Oh, well, never mind.
Someone might be able to look it up.
That's fine.
But I was guessing.
I think it's 3 out of 7. That's.
I was guessing like between 6 and 8 out of 16, somewhere around there.
That makes sense. When I learned they had to heal more, I was like, son of a. It's so rude.
Yeah, good scouting reports to have in advance, though, since it did end up being the mini boss. So.
Yeah, that would have.
You guys knew it, and you just went with the first turn stop spell on the mini boss. So
I just hoped to swing past the heal more point, and that worked.
Nice. Maybe it's a 25% heal more. Maybe, who knows?
I think it's more than that, but it was. I killed at least one red dragon that was definitely in heal more range and didn't cast it, and I also knew I was swinging for 30 plus, so I had a pretty good shot to just bypass the range altogether.
Yeah, it was ugly beginning. Like the first one of you who found a red dragon, he literally punched you immediately. So it was like, okay, so this is where we're going to be with that. And then like later on down the road, the next one or two of you that found it was like, oh, he's just using hurt. That's literally all he did to one of you. I think it was Lavkin. And then Lavkin was like, okay, I'll try and swing this out. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, no, heal more. And then Lavkin's like, I'm out.
Yeah, I had one of those too. I think I had 13 run fails against the same red dragon early in the seed. That was amazing.
Speaking of Lavkin, over the 2-hour mark, he is heading back to the castle for the accolades. Let's get an official time on that one. See if he wants to come join us.
Yeah, so Lavkin coming in with an official SRL time of 2 hours and 28 seconds. He did really well. Unfortunately, he had a very rough patch like mid-game that just would not let him off a level 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there were like 2 levels there where before you guys got healing, I think for a little while you guys didn't have healing, and you had low MP. So I think there was a lot of variance there with how some people were able to just proceed, and like in Lavkin's case, he just kept getting sent home. It was just brutal. I guess does he need to be dragged in here to the booth? Let's see if he wants to
he
give
should
some
be
thoughts.
able to drag himself in there, but some people don't know that.
GG's.
I got it, guys. Lavkin, great job, man. Good game. Finishing in 7th place. Official SRL time of 2 hours and 28 seconds. Had a little tough luck there mid-game, man.
What? So was I the last to find Rimeldar?
No, I think you were 3rd one to find Rimeldar.
Then I have no idea how I lost 17 minutes.
No, I mean, mostly from what we saw was that just in that middle game, like round levels like 8 or 9, you just kept getting sent home. It was like just brutal. Your experience just stalled out, and just everybody else just didn't quite have that same experience, and it was just it was rough.
So it's interesting that you bring up the experience thing. So I at one point, I kind of felt like I was getting very much bent over by RNG because those early levels were so bad, right? Like, I hope chat feels like they got their money's worth considering it was level 2 hurt more. But then, of course, there is that zone which Beta in spoilers just mentions that he did his grind in the same zone that I started in, because I'm thinking, okay, we've got Star Wyverns over here, we've got Green Dragons, the Rogue Scorpions were what really made me want to stay in that zone, but I was losing every 50-50 I tossed at them for such a long time. So, I mean, I stayed there until about level 11 or so. Was there a point where I was ahead or even with the pack and experience? Or was that just like the worst decision ever?
When you were ahead was mostly when you did like, you stayed with the dedicated grinding like in the starting castle for a little longer than everyone. So you got like level 6 before you went anywhere. And at that point you kind of were ahead on experience because everyone else was kind of like just running around, with Hurtmore. And like, the one casting of Hurtmore that you guys had for so long, it's like so brutal. So for in the early game, you kind of had a nice experience cushion, but then it's like it just stalled out. It was just like, wow, like we turned back and was like, wow, Lavkin still only has 1,200 experience. This is brutal.
So I take it both of you thought that grinding over there by Sharlock was a bad idea, because I honestly thought it was like, I felt like it was a gamble, but I had no idea. I had no idea what else I was supposed to do.
Yeah, it looked like a good zone to me. Yeah, like you said, it was Rogue Scorpion, Star Wyvern. Yeah,
I think that's what I did for quite a while. So
yeah, both of you guys were. I was going to say both of you guys.
Going to watch this back, yeah, and if I can see anything, Lavkin, I'll definitely let you know what I see.
Yeah, I mean, you finished third, so if we both did the same early grind thing, then it sounds like comms were where it basically came down to just getting bent over again in the mid game. Which honestly, I didn't feel like my mid game went that bad, but I guess I was just more focused on let's find all the things and put it together. But there was definitely a point where I was very curious. I feel like in the first 30 minutes or so, I must have died at least 25 times. Curious how my experience compared to other people, but yeah.
Yeah, kind of watching that, and there's actually a few runners who, even late game, went and did that grind. Beta decided to play that grind late game.
That's what he said in spoilers.
Yeah, just due to the fact that you guys had AK-47s out there, you had Star Wyverns, you had a lot of stuff out there was just giving triple digit experience and not really a lot of low level enemies. But yeah, you had a lot of deaths right around that level 8, 9, and 10 area that just kept sending you back and just trying to be a hurdle right there.
Gotcha.
My personal opinion, if I want to jump in there, is like if Hawksness happened to be pretty far away from a town and Swamp Cave wasn't that convenient either, then I would say that overworld grind was a pretty good idea. But I mean, the spike tiles were just so close to inns that I'm not sure. Maybe in the beginning you guys didn't have a lot of strength, but I don't know. Like everybody had Erdrick Sword and you had like 68, 70, 75 strength. I mean, the Blue Dragon grind can't be that bad, right? You just go to the inn, you come right back. So I wish he was on stream so we could compare, but like, I wouldn't even think to do an overworld grind in that spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I was very surprised to read that Beta declined the Blue Dragons. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was grind and go faster than I was, because I was probably level 15 by the time I was grind and go, and the Blue Dragons were much more reasonable, but Beta might have had a different experience. Sorry, Zarnax, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say, it sounds like Schmeich kind of compared, or Lorgan compared, he was watching both grinds and said they were pretty comparable. I definitely considered that area with the Armored Knights and other stuff.
It's a nice area.
It was a great. If the Blue Dragons had anything that would have wasted more time, besides just needing to heal every turn, then I probably would have moved. Blue Dragons and Stonemen are the worst spike enemies, all else being equal. But I've tried to do non-spike grinds so many times, and you lose so much time looking for encounters that even when you have better experienced enemies, it's almost always a wash at best, unless the spike tile is just wasting your time healing or DL2 breath or something, or like an occasional sleep or something like that.
Or just like I was saying, if it's a really long walk back and forth to an inn, and like the overworld,
right? Yeah,
if the overworld is like literally one step from the town.
Yeah, with that inn right there, it was a no-brainer to me.
I can kind of see it just because that zone did happen to be in a desert. That does make it a little bit more appealing, but for the most part, I agree with Sarnax.
Well,
Except for
I
the
don't
part,
have anything.
I never considered Blue Dragons that bad. I hate Stonemen and Golems, but I never considered Blue Dragons to be that bad.
I don't have much else for you guys. I thought it was an awesome race. We're all gonna hit the follow button on all you guys. So I don't know, Edge, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's pretty well covering everything. The only thing I can say is you guys didn't run into a whole lot of DL2. The only real things
True.
in this map that had DL2 was Death Knights and the Big Man.
Yep, I got a Demon Knight to the face early.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't see that DL2 until super late. I was very amused when I finally saw it.
Well, GG's everybody. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, GG's. Congrats on the win. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that one back. I knew that finish was going to be tight, and then it was. So that's always fun from the viewer's perspective, when everyone's on DL2 at the same time.
All right, well, shout-outs to Commentary, Restream, and everyone else behind the scenes. Appreciate you guys putting this together last minute. I'm going to go set up for the post-weekly race. Y'all have a good one.
Indeed. Alrighty, everybody. So, again, another fantastic race, another fun time. Everybody feel free to come and follow these guys. Follow the crew here that's putting all this on. And we will definitely see you guys again next weekend. Another standard flag race. This is Edge Talvra, followed by Up 2NG. We will see you guys again.